Good evening, everyone. We start with discussing Optech newsletter 297, and today Faisal is not here, and I'm trying to fill in for Faisal, so I'll try my best. Okay, so the first item in the newsletter is that there is a dev named Kulpreet Singh who is designing a domain specific language for Bitcoin. So, briefly go through what the specific languages are and what Bitcoin domain specific languages will look like and what will they try to. So, DSLs are really is designed to solve specific or particular problems within a certain book. So they are a general purpose language where you can do all sorts of things under the sun. DSLs are specifically limited to certain tasks. Example DSL to life. We use SQL, we use HTTP, etc. They are all examples of DSLs. SQLs are designed to handle databases. HTMLs are designed to handle web layouts. So they do one job and they do it good. So why do we need DSLs? They are easier to analyze. Particularly, they are safer because their scopes are limited. And another good thing is that because they are designed to do one particular task, they can during design phase, a DSL usually embeds specific errors, which will help you a lot in debugging, rather than provide generic errors with a general purpose language. And also DSLs are typically made platform agnostic. Like you can port them between domains and operating systems. And also DSLs are because of their limited functionalities, they are generally easier to teach. So these are the general idea behind DSL. Bitcoin, so the idea is to create a DSL. So if we can imagine what are all the things that a DSL for Bitcoin can do, it's like the DSL can try to execute basic transactions. Typically, you don't have to spin up a node and then write RPC commands to interact with your node and the transaction. So this is a typical workflow. So what this DSL tries to do is that it tries to abstract these things into commands so that you don't too much about the creation of a node. You don't have to analyze how your Bitcoin D works and what sort of RPC commands you need. So those kinds of things might be away behind this DSL. So DSL. So this is being designed will provide you declarative syntax. I can help you build transactions. It can write scripts for you, simple locking scripts, and then maybe it can interact with your node, and it can also get you the state of the network, those kinds of things. But what this DSL is not is that it's not another scripting language like miniscript or descriptor, and also it is not dependent on any like you don't it lies like the Bitcoin code. it uses whatever is available and creates a domain-specific language out of it. Like there is no need for this kind of work. So here you can see a typical example of how this DSL might look like. These are all declarative syntaxes, like 1 for 3 lines. Alice, you here in this first line, in this line 2, you are creating a new key and assigning it to Alice. And in the second line, you are extending the chain. Like so this DSL right now works on in rect test. So you spin up a node and then you populate the node with block, like say till 101 blocks. You extend it. So extend chain is like you spin up a rect test node and then populate it to 101 blocks. So that's what it is. That's what this syntax will do. There are many other syntaxes like this that have been built under this project. So that is the DSL is about. And quite a lot of discussion is going on with it, and this work is also related to but I have not yet explored how it is related to, but I'm not sure how it interacts with BitVM and how it helps BitVM. That I'm not sure. and collaborative efforts are going on between the DSL's author Dilpreet Singh and Robin Linus. So that's what the news says. Any questions? I hope I have tried to explain what this whole DSL and news is about.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. So is this, a language specific to Bitcoin Core, or just a general overall idea that any implementation can use, any wallet or any node?
No. It takes your Bitcoin core and then creates an abstraction above your core. Like you can abstract all the whole process of spinning up a node,
Okay.
creating a wallet, creating a private public key pair. Those kinds of things are abstracted away, and it is put into this large kind of thing. Like you say to this DSL, like I want a public private key pair. Automatically, what it will do is that it will interact with a core runs below it, and it will run RPC count on the core, get its output, and then show it.
All right. Thanks.
Shall we move on to the second news item? So the second news item is about
Bala, I have just one question. Is this Visual Studio?
Which one? What? On what?
Are you using Visual Studio for this?
No. The application that I'm sharing, asking about it.
No, I mean, are you using IDE, the Visual Studio IDE?
No, this is Obsidian.
Obsidian, okay. Yeah. Okay, Obsidian is there for. I didn't know. Okay, this looks very clean. I just wanted to know. Very nice. Yeah.
You can analyze your notes better. Okay. The second news item is about updating 2. So what BIP2 is we'll just see what BIP2 is. So BIP2 largely describes the editorial policies around so it defines what a good BIP is and what are all the criteria that that must be met to be accepted. What role does the BIP editor play in all these things? So these are discussed in BIP 2. Basically, the contention is that the author of the author who wants to edit is that he is little bit his opinion that the editors now are like being forced to not forced, like their how whatever their duties are defined right now makes them to judge what the BIP actually is about, whether it's good or acceptable or not. He's of the opinion that an editor's role is not to judge the BIP, but to make the BIP into a more formal or a presentable kind of thing, so that others can read it, form their opinions about it, opinions in a structured, useful manner. So that's what his contention is. He primarily focused on certain issues like what are all the reasons for rejecting BIP currently. These are all listed in the BIP 2. So if your BIP is formatting rules, it is good enough to reject. If your BIP is too broad and unfocused, it can be rejected. If it is really unsound, it can be rejected. If your BIP does not provide proper motivation, it can be rejected. And also, if you do not ensure backwards compatibility, then it will definitely be rejected. And if you don't keep up with the Bitcoin philosophy, that's kind of a gray area. What is a Bitcoin philosophy? There's no definition about it. It's like a fee kind of thing. So if you don't adhere to Bitcoin philosophy, then your BIP might be rejected. So these are all the reasons for rejecting a BIP. If you consider there are also some minimum criteria that are defined that has to be met by a BIP. You have to present a clear and complete description of what you propose to enhance. So that is the minimum criteria. Then the minimum criteria, the enhancement must represent the overall improvement in the protocol and network. And also your implementation must be solid, and it should not introduce undue complications to the protocol. All the minimum criteria that has to be made BIP. And also there is a section called summary tone of comments. So like when you propose BIP, you'll have to create a wiki page. Then you have to update it with all the contents of your BIP, and you'll have to leave section for to become your BIPs. So after a while, when your BIP is looked at by many developers, generally you get a sense of where this BIP is going. So based on that, the editor has to clarify the comments that the BIP has received into any of these 4 or 5 categories. So it can, if a BIP is new, it can be classified as no comment set. If a BIP is so important and it is non-controversial, it can be classified as unanimously recommended for implementation. And if it is very controversial and it's a big no-no, and most comments have discouraged it, then the editor can classify it as unanimously discouraged for implementation. And after that, there is mostly recommended for implementation with some discouragement. The BIP is largely popular, but there are commenters or devs who do not want it. And final category, mostly discouraged for implementation with some recommendation. It's like the opposite of whatever we discussed in the previous section. So this is the general process that BIP2, the editorial process in BIPs are now. This is how it is structured right now. So what is the grievance is that now the editor has too much of an criteria to consider. Like he'll have to look into the philosophy, he'll have to look into the structure of it, he'll has to look into the technical part of it. So like the editor gets buried so much that he does not do a proper editing job. Rather, he goes into elevating the big kind of thing. So people want to structure the editor's job further. And the editor has to form an opinion about the merit of the BIP in order to assess if the BIP represents a net improvement. Like the minimum criteria that a BIP should have is that it should provide a net improvement to the protocol. Like the argument is that how can an editor say that the BIP represents a net improvement in witnessing it or forming an opinion about the BIP. Editors are supposed to be not be opinionated, and they'll have to provide a fair for every BIP. So the grievance is that how can an editor judge it without form of opinion? And there is no clear definition of what a Bitcoin philosophy is. And currently, BIPs are licensed Berkeley distribution license called BSD. There are many versions of it to BSD3. So BIPs are currently licensed under this type of license. But the grievance is that these software licenses, since BIPs involve a large part of plain text, the question has been put like, do these licenses actually apply to which are largely text, and the implementation of the BIP is the actual software part, which comes later. And also, as we saw earlier, the summary tone of comments effectively used right now. Because the editor has to make a judgment about it. It is not being rightly, it is not being effectively used. So these are all the grievances that are being put forth, and they want the discussion has been started, and they're trying to they're trying to hash out what should be the role of an editor. So what is being proposed is that editor shouldn't examine it of the book. Like he should not go into the technical part of the book. Editors should purely focus on formal and editorial issues. Like he should ensure there is proper formatting of the BIP, right licenses are being used for the BIP, and the BIP is readable, and he should primarily filter out spams that are being put forth as BIPs. So people want to limit an editor's job to these things. And also, editor should spend more time on guiding the BIP's author by providing him feedback on the presentation of the idea and the idea itself. So he rather than going into and judging, the editor should more like guide the BIP authors. And and also finally, the editorial workflow. In no part of the editorial workflow should they be required to make decisions based on the technical and philosophical merit of the bill. So that's what is the proposal. That's what people are trying to modify about the BIP 2. So that's the news items about. Any questions?
I think we have discussed this in previous Optech newsletter sessions, and I think Luke Dash Jr. is currently the only BIP editor, and I think Faisal or some. I think Faisal mentioned that there is a news article or just the general controversy that Luke Dash Jr. has been complaining that there's a lot of burden on himself because he's the sole person who's managing the role of being a BIP editor. So yeah, that's
Yeah, that's
interesting. I
right.
just
He's not the editor, and he assigns all the numbers and all and BIP numbers and those,
Mm.
and also because he's more of an opinionated figure. Unhappy about it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but it's remarkable how many projects he's involved in, and yeah, so it's of course a one man heading such a important role is not healthy, and yeah, the burden needs to be reduced over time.
Yeah, right. Okay. So moving on, the next news item is about testnets. So this was quite interesting. I learned a lot about testnets today. Okay, so we'll just have a brief look at testnets, our history of it, and how it is different from mainnet, and what are all the current issues that testnet is facing. So it's just a network that is different from mainnet, and it is used for testing. So it's a very simple definition of testnet. Um, Testnet was first spawned by Satoshi in 2010. Then another version of a Testnet 2 was spawned in 2011. And then finally, whatever we are using right now is Testnet 3, and it was spawned in 2012. So it's up and running for like 12 years, whatever testnet that we are using now. So the basic difference between testnet and mainnet is that testnet listens over port 8333, while mainnet listens over 18333. And there is a difference in the RPC port to which testnet connects. And also, testnet has a separated DNS seeds that are used for bootstrapping it with other peers. And the address version of testnet is typically an address starts with 6F, while your mainnet works with 00. And this is to ensure that you don't accidentally send testnet coins to mainnet or mainnet coins addresses. So the protocol message heights are different. This also ensures that you don't mix up the networks. And the Genesis block of testnet is obviously different from that of your mainnet. And new Genesis blocks are created when we reset the testnet. Whatever test 3 that we are using now, its Genesis block was created in like 2012. So these are all the basics about testnet, some basic facts. So let's go and look into what are all the issues. This is not a new problem, but typically some people assign value to testnet coins, and they also trade testnet coins. So it's strictly not meant to be traded. Right now, there is some sort of a market that is being set up to trade testnet coins. So typically, when this kind of thing happens, devs get together and then they reset the testnet with a new Genesis block. So discussion is on whether we should do it. So that is the issue, one issue, and there is also this small bug with testnet, which because of which like there are now like 2.5 million blocks in testnet. So this is largely due to this 20-minute rule bug. So testnet has this 20-minute rule, which is that if no block is mined for 20 minutes, the mining difficulty drops to 1. Like it makes it 1, so you can quickly find a new block and then build on the chain. So as in mainnet, testnet, in testnet also the difficulty is adjusted every 2016 blocks. So if this 20-minute rule happens to get triggered in say block number 2015 or 4031, what happens is that the difficulty gets set to 1, and then another block is immediately found. So now it is time for difficulty adjustment. So what the blockchain does is that it looks back from like say block 216 and it tries to calculate the difficulty of the last epoch for the last 2015 block. Because all blocks are valid and the difficulty of 2015 block is set to 1, the algorithm will take the difficulty of the entire epoch, like the entire previous 2015 blocks to be as 1. So assume that the previous epoch had a difficulty of 1, and then it will try to adjust the next epoch's difficulty based on the value 1. And also there is a cap for the difficulty adjustment. So you can adjust more than 4 times the current difficulty. So that is the constraint on difficulty adjustment. So it will calculate it to be so the algorithm will calculate it to be between 1 and 4. That will be the new difficulty. So what this creates is that it creates extreme volatility in your difficulty levels. So you can see this volatility. The top graph is that of a testnet, and the bottom one is that of. So the red lines are difficulties. So you can see that the difficulty drops significantly, and then it drops off, and then it gets back. So because 20-minute rule, as the difficulty drops to 1. For example, even if a single ASIC or GPU is connected and it is trying to mine, it can like quickly block in a second or so, because the difficulty drops to 1. And suddenly, and if that pin difficulty happens to be in the 2015 block, then because of the difficulty adjust happening, the difficulty is again shoots up because it gets adjusted to 4 times. So this kind of severe volatility happens because of this 1-minute rule. You cannot see that volatility in mainnet because that particular piece of code does not exist in mainnet. So people have been wanting to fix this bug for a long time. The only issue is that if you want this bug, you need to hard fork your testnet. Because many systems are already up and running, and many people try to play on testnets. That's so far in order to hard fork your testnet. And also after the dev Signet, less interest towards fixing this block, and they want to move on Signet and slowly stop using testnets altogether. So this is the news item about. It's about fixing these 2 issues. Suddenly testnets happens periodically, and now also testnet coins have value, and some people are, so devs want to stop it, devs want to prevent it, and also they are looking at if we are trying to make any change in testnet, can we also push this hard fork through in order to fix this 20-minute rule bug in testnet. So that's what this news item is about, the testnet. Any questions about this? Okay.
Yeah, just one question.
So
I think I remember reading somewhere that yeah, am I audible?
yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember reading that there are other testnet chains, not just one testnet chain. Is that true? Are there multiple testnets?
No, historically there were different chains. Means they have been reset periodically. But whatever is right now is called as testnet 3, and it was started in, means the genesis block testnet 3 dates to 2012, and since then it is running.
All right. Hmm.
And people have moved on because testnet relies on mining, and there is no you cannot have a centralized control of blocks for
Right.
test. People are trying to move on to Signet. In Signet, if organization developing on Bitcoin can create a signalization, you can have a forum of people, two or three admins who control a block generation part, and you can have
Right.
dev it, and they can develop on. So devs want to move on to Signet, but there are use cases for testnet where, because test distributed and there is no one, there is no central. It's a discussion going on to fix testnet, or do we actually have to fix it or dump it? And
Right. Why do you think testnet coins accrued value? Why do you think people started trading them for money?
it's general ignorance. Like it reads like Bitcoin, so, and it is very easily available in some faucets, and people want to take it and trick someone. Basically, it's like
Right. Yeah, somebody
fooling.
trying to scam somebody saying that this is some other
Yeah,
this is like
yeah,
Bitcoin 2.0, right? Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah. They will scam by saying that this is the Bitcoin. It's actual.
Right,
You can
right,
use it.
right. Right.
Which app have you used for testing out? Does Electrum, Blue Wallet allow testnet coins?
Um,
I know Sparrow does.
no,
Oh, interesting.
I have not in wallets, but in using Bitcoin Core, if you spin up Bitcoin Core using a hyphen testnet tag, it will spin up a testnet, and you can find out faucets online, and you can take Bitcoins from those faucets. You can basically spin up a testnet node, create an address, create a wallet in core, and then receiving address in core, and you can go to that faucet, put in your testnet address into the faucet, and the faucet will send you some Bitcoins, testnet coins.
Okay.
But I have not tried it with wallets like Sparrow and all. It's just I have used Core's wallet to receive testnet coins.
Okay.
Okay.
And you're saying there can be multiple signet chains, right? Anybody can spin up a signet chain to deploy changes or test anything. And testnet is there's this one testnet, right?
Yeah. Right now, testnet is one which is there maintained by devs. It's
Right.
called test. Signets, as you say, like we four people can spin up a signet. One can be an admin whose duties to blocks, and others can work around it.
Got it.
Okay. So moving on to the next item, it's a um, uh, peer review. So it's about 64-bit arithmetics. So overview of the So,
Electrum allows testnet. So thing is that when you start, you need to give a certain command with a parameter saying that dash dash testnet. So then automatically the default connected nodes will be the testnet nodes.
okay.
Yeah.
So
Sorry
yeah,
for interrupting.
similar. Yeah, I think it's similar to core. In core, if you pin up a core with a test tag, it will connect with testnet peer, and then you'll be pushed into the testnet chain itself.
Okay.
Okay, so this PR is about 64-bit arithmetic opcodes. So the issue is that currently there are arithmetic operators in scripts like op-add, op-sub, mul, etc. So they can all now deal only with 32-bit arithmetic operations. So far it has not been much of a problem. Know this limitation exists, so they work around it or work within it. Um, Now people are looking to now need has arisen, so that people are trying to increase the 34-bit arithmetic to like 64-bit arithmetic. One typical use case is that if you express your Bitcoin as sats, it can occupy up to 51 bits. If you it can go from 0 to 51 bits. The maximum sats that you can express can occupy 51 bits. So if you want to add, like if you want to perform an arithmetic operator, for example, between two values representing sats which are greater than 32-bit, then with the scheme of opcodes, it's a problem. Because the current opcode deal only with 32 bits or 4s. They'll try to add a number which is greater than 32 bits, add two numbers, or like perform an arithmetic operation of two numbers that are greater than 32 bits. They will fail, and fail with an overflow exception. The problem is that after this failure, the stack will be left empty. Means the state will not be defined and the script cannot proceed any further. So there will not be a true or false state that will left, if this operation fails, and your script is because in Bitcoin scripts. Without proper state, you cannot proceed. Because if this error occurs, the script fails and you cannot proceed further. So, in order to address this issue, the contributors want to introduce 64-bit opcodes. Right now, the proposal is to introduce separate opcodes, like op4 kind of thing, to go along with op-add, which is a normal 32-bit operation. And also they want these codes with error handling capabilities. It will give you a definite state of thing happening behind the arithmetic operation. It will give you a true or a false state, so that your succeed, and it cannot stuck with this particular step. So that's what they are planning to build into this 64-bit opcodes, and this will also standardize the encoding across the. There are many other parts of the protocol where 8-byte numbers are used. So what this PR hopes to achieve is it also tries to standardize the numerical representation as 8 bytes across the protocol. So this is what is being proposed, and there are still debate design considerations are going on, whether to use signed or unsigned integers, and then how do you ensure interoperation with the existing opcodes, because your arithmetic opcodes most often will interact with some other conditional or other network state defining opcodes. So you have to ensure that the new opcodes interoperate seamlessly with those existing opcodes. So there are considerations going on how to ensure that. And then another design issue that is being considered is that should an explicit or implicit conversion kind of opcodes. If the design choice is made to be explicit conversion, then before using a 64-bit opcode, the script writer has to specify to the compiler script engine that from henceforth he will be using a 64-bit opcode. So we are planning to give it some specific opcode so that you can sign or send a signal to the script execution that you will be using 64-bit. So that is one thing that is being considered. Or in the other case, you can also use implicit conversion, which is like you signal while sending a signal SIG version kind of header or somewhere else, you put in that you will be using 64-bit. And based on that, the script execution will follow 64-bit code. So debates are going on which one to use. So it's an ongoing process in the PR. It's an ongoing discussion in the PR. So this is what 64-bit arithmetic PR is about, and the site has some basic FAQs on what are these. What is currently used and those kinds of things. Any questions? Hope I was able to explain it.
Yep.
So that's what I have for today, and the other items are in the list. Release candidates. There is a release candidate for hardware wallets. There are release candidates for Lightning, and some minor changes have been made. So that is discussed, and then comes notable code changes. I did not find the time to examine them and make a proper give a proper read about it. So I think I'll have to end the reading here. So I don't want to read through the thing because I can hardly understand. You'll have to spend some time to actually understand what are the code changes that are being made. So if anyone else could be then.
Right, that's completely understandable, Bala. So yeah, we can end it here if you want to. I think if somebody else wants to discuss anything or go over something, we can do that. But yeah, I agree. It's not something that we can just read and understand. So
Yeah. Yeah, some interesting changes that are being made, but I did not have to.
yeah, I think there's one section of the newsletter which is just about release and updates of major wallets and any Bitcoin software, right? And they are not exactly going over any technical details, just the update on what's happening.
Yes. Yeah. And there is one section on code changes, so that is a little bit interesting. apart from whatever we have discussed, major PR changes and BIPs. After the BIPs and PR changes comes the code changes. So I was not able to go through the code changes. There are many. It's both of Bitcoin and LND, so it discusses both. So maybe if Faisal was given a shot at all those things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Bala. This is so we completed at least a fair bit of the newsletter. So thank you for this.
Yeah. The DSL part is quite interesting. Yeah, domain specific language that is developed.
I think I found the 64-bit arithmetic opcode also very interesting because I remember reading about it a few weeks earlier, and I didn't completely understand. And I think I still only have a very rudimentary understanding. But is it just a size increase that now Bitcoin script is able to process 64 instead of 32-bit arithmetic? I mean, any input?
Yeah, it's primarily they want to introduce new opcodes that can handle 64-bit numbers. So what they can see out there is that there will definitely be a need to do 64-bit arithmetic because eventually some sort of an advanced contract thing will find its way into Bitcoin. So if that's the case, then having a 64-bit arithmetic will definitely help it. It will help script writers. Script writers can be little bit more expressive and being constrained with 32-bit arithmetic. So that's what the whole motivation in this PR is.
Right. Yep.
Okay. So that's all I have to contribute for today.
Yep. So see you guys tomorrow if you're joining for the lightning session.
Great job. Keep going.
Okay.